shofar couldn't go, it didn't go. So he said, say v'yineim into the shofar. They said v'yineim, and it went. Did it start? Mm-hmm. Well, v'yineim, we said v'yineim.
So you have to say it first.
Because I remember the Rebbe wanted that when they started making the hookups, that they should also be able to hear from other places to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe came to the first time they did it. The Rebbe asked, there was a big microphone sticking out for this, and it didn't work. They tried saying from wherever, Australia, and it didn't go. So the Rebbe, there's a guy standing on the place very high next to that microphone. So the Rebbe says to him, Zog v'yineim. He didn't know what they was talking about. Didn't hear this, Zog v'yineim, he's saying. So the Rebbe said, no, Zog v'yineim. And the guy standing there thinking it's a joke. So it didn't work. And that's it, and the Rebbe never did it again. But we see from saying v'yineim works.
Two words?
No, the posting, v'yineim Hashem Elokeinu. Yeah, I know the whole thing, it's not just... Okay, we can start? It's working already?
I think so.
Oh, so people are listening to our Narishkeit?
I
mean...
I thought it was Torah.
Yeah, it is Torah, but it's not...
Start with the joke, right?
Okay, in Medrash Vedret it says in Medrash, as Yitzchak v'Yishmoel hoye medainim zem, so Yitzchak and Yishmoel were arguing. One said, meaning Yishmael said, I'm more beloved than you. I'm greater than you. I got a bris to 13 years old. And he said to him, Yitzchak said to Yishmael, I'm better than you. I got it to 8 days. Now, the Rebbe is going to explain here. Those was nemalti l'shleishes rishona ken zayin mer chaviv is moving the pashtas. The reason why he tines that because I did it to 13 years old, I'm better, we can understand why it's better. With the Medrash the noch mamshich, the Medrash explains that Yishmael getainet, Yishmael answered him, Shehoya pesafik sipik b'yodi limches v'lei mechisi. I could have stopped it. I was already an adult, and I didn't. So Mamela, we understand what Yishmael meant when he said, I'm better than you because I got it to 13. It means I could have stopped it and I didn't.
More zchuyot.
Yes, greater. What's the Maila that he said, I did it to 8 days, was to Lidem Yitzchak. He said, I'm greater, I did it to 8 days. So what's so special about 8 days? Now, before Shem Zogen, the simple answer, Forshim say, as the Maila is, in them was mitzvah, b'shai to odif. A mitzvah in its right time is better. When Mila does mana leches yomim. The mitzvah of Mila, the right time of Mila is to 8 days. The Mila, that's what he answered him. You talk of a Mila that you did it 13 years. Okay. 1 second, let's see. But he said to him, you talk better that you could have stopped it and you didn't. But I'm greater than you. I did it in the right, by me it happened in the right time. Oh, but this is nicht glatig. That's not such a good answer. While, first of all, the Rebbe says, besides the fact, was bald as if Mila Yishmael, the Rebbe ist ongesagt erst, wenn geworden ben Yid since by Yishmael. When did the Rebbe command that he should get gemalet? At the time when he was 13. Hot nicht kann zu sagen, als bei ihm hat gefällt Mitzvah bescheiter. You can't say he was missing doing the Mitzvah in his right time. Weil bei ihm ist dann, ben Yid Gimel schon gewinnt die Scheiter von der Mitzvah. His time was that time, because that's what the Rebbe told him. And the Rebbe gives an example to this. Und wie mir gerät am Mol, the Rebbe said, I spoke before, when he gave them time for was Avrom, wie er kennt mal sein B'yom HaKippurim. It says in Pirkei Rebbe Lozer that when did Avrom do the Mila, it was on Yom Kippur. Now in a different place the Rebbe brings here, it says that it was Pesach. Whatever, it was a Yontif. But Esas, the din is, as Mila Shlei Bismano, is not Deicha Shabbos and Yontif. You could only do Mila on Shabbos and Yontif if it's on the 8th day, on the time. But if it's Mila not the time, you can't do it on Shabbos and Yontif. Und Avrom hat sich Makayim gewinnt, Kol HaTeire Kulat Shelanit. Avrom did the whole Teire. Because at least you could say, well, it was before Matan Teire. But that's not an answer, because Avrom kept the whole Teire before. So the question is, how did he do the mitzvah? Muss man sagen, as we bald, as demot nistave geworden since, that's when he was commanded to do it. Ala Milo. He says, Vayim given, a Milo Bismano. So that was the right time. So Mela, that's one question, and the Meforshim who say that the Mila that Yitzchak said on himself that I did it to 8 days is because it's a Mila Bismana. Because by Yishmael it was also Mila Bismana, because that's the time. It's Nesev Lezeh.
How soon did he tell Yishmael after Abraham?
He told them together.
Together.
It's Nesev Lezeh. Besides that pshat that the Meforshim say is not so simple. Why? That inyan for mitzvah b'shaita odiv, when we say there's a mitzvah in its right time is better, is blaze a Maila protis in kima mitzvahs. It's mana mitzvah. It's not a Maila in the mitzvah itself. The mitzvah is better. It's in the Zmana mitzvah. It's a better time, the right time. If you do it in that time, is better. Wie kann man vergleichen die Chvives von Kima Mitzvah Scheiter, to the Maila from Milas Yishmael. How could you compare the Maila that you did it in the right time to the Maila that Yishmael had, a Maila Sheshaychas zum Klolos Kiyum HaMitzvah? By him, the whole mitzvah was greater. I could have stopped it. So when I did the mitzvah, I really put myself into it. So that's greater. So how could you say that Mila B'Shaita is greater? Because the Pharaoh Yitzchak Zogen, I'm better than you. Why? Because I did it in time. First of all, the Rebbe asks, Yishmael also did it in time. But I feel that, let's say, if we're going to say that Sof Kosov, later on, the time is on the 8th day, so he had this Maila. Fine. But it's not a greater Maila than what Yishmael did, that he did it when he could have protested and he didn't protest. That's a Maila in Poshet the Etzem Kiyum HaMitzvah, not only on a side matter.
That we can say every day, because we have a choice of doing mitzvah or not doing mitzvah, and we're doing mitzvah.
Okay. That's a Maila. Sure, especially with a Mila, to get an operation, you could stop it. Yeah, a person who did it and he could have stopped it, and he could have run away from the house. He couldn't have, that's a big Maila in the way he did the mitzvah. Not just that I did it with a certain hidur, because you're Yetzer Mila even if it's not in the right time. Elamai, it's a bigger hidur to do it in the right time. So it's a hidur. It's something special, but not compared to his specialty.
Was it after a mitzvah for Ishmael though?
Yes, mitzvah. Yeah, it's a mitzvah that he had to get gemaled. Yes.
Is it the same midrash where Yitzchak tells Ishmael, "You are only with one aver, I'm with my whole body"?
That's a different word. That's nothing to do with 8. That's not what the medrash says. It's other midrashim. This medrash says something else. That he said, my Maila over you is that I did it. It happened to me when I was 8 days old. That's the Maila. What's the Maila of 8 days old? Maila is that it's the right time, if you're going to say it's the right time. But it's not as great a Maila as Yishmael's Maila. So we have to say, Adarinya from Nimel Shmeina Yomim, the fact that he got the Mila to 8 days, is not nor a prat in the mitzvah. Zmano. It's not only a certain detail in the mitzvah that it's the better time. No, das is negeya to klolos inyan amila. This brings out the general concept of Mila is greater. Mila lishmeina yomim what another geder, another reichos. To be malt on the 8th day is a different quality altogether. Because until now it seemed like 8th day is a side Mila, a small Mila, it's a hidur, a fine. But now the Rebbe says it must be since he said, I'm greater than Yishmael, who did such a great thing that he could have stopped and he didn't. And his said, my Mila is greater, must be that being mal to the 8th day is something very special. Before the Rebbe explains what the specialty is, he brings a raya. Das is eich muchach von dem was Chazal sagen. I could prove it from what the Chazal tell us. It says like this. The Chazal tell us in Medrash Shirashirim Rabbi, Odom Arishin itztav al sheva mitzvahs. It says like this. Odom Arishin, it goes through the list of how the mitzvahs came about. Odom Arishin, the first human being, got 7 mitzvahs. Noach nitoisav le'ever menachai. Noach got another mitzvah, ever menachai. Now we know Eber Menachai is one of the 7, but that medrash, this is what the medrash says. Noach got 7, Adam got 7, Noach got another one, you can't eat Eber Menachai. Avram nitztava ala Mila, Avram got another mitzvah, Mila, and Yitzchak chincha l'shmeina yomim. And another stage is that Yitzchak was the one first one that did it to 8 days. He was the first one that got 8 days. That's why he's called, he started it off for 8 days. First glance, why does the Medrash divide the mitzvah of Mila? 2 stages. The Tzivi of them to Avram, one is the commandment to Avram Bechlal for Mila, and the second stage, another stage, is that Yitzchak did it, the first one to do it on the 8th day. See, der Fahrer was by Yitzchak and nicht Teise geworden, der ein Prat von Himmel Shmeine Yomim. Can we say that because by him there was another detail that he did it on the 8th day, it was maspik of Miyacha sein Sim dem Chinuch for Mitzvahs Mila. So this is like, we could apply to him the specialty that he did something special in the Mitzvah of Mila when he got one small detail. The Yisayrim is more than that. When we divide that as a separate thing, is me'ein achilik by sof for Mila l'gabei for Menachai. It seems like he's giving new mitzvahs. First was 7, then Noach got a new mitzvah. Avram got a new mitzvah. So what we're dividing it here is in stages of new mitzvahs. And then we say the next stage is that he did it in 8 days. It's the same mitzvah. It seems like as if this is another level of in the mitzvah. It's like a new mitzvah, the fact of the 8 days. Must be that there is something special in the fact that it's in the 8th day, not just that you got another detail that this is the right day, and he started doing it the right day. The fact that it's on the 8th day is a complete different milah. And then if it's so, then we will understand why Yitzchak said to Yishmael, I'm greater that I did at the 8th day, because there's something new completely. Now, what is it? The Yeshlema they are clearing on them. I could explain it like this. The Teichem from Bris Milah is, Beloshen HaPosik, the meaning of Bris Milah is, as the Posik says, B'hoisa brisi b'fsarchem lebris olam. There will be a covenant in your flesh forever. A covenant olam, a covenant forever. That means, durch Bris Milah wird aufgetan, through Bris Milah you accomplish an ewiger Verbund zwischen dem Himmel mit dem Eibischen Kaviyachol. A forever, an eternal bond between the person who gets the Bris with Hashem Kaviyachol. In return, that's what the Pasuk says, Bris Olam. Azevi a Bris, a Christus Bris zwischen zwei Eavim. Similar to a covenant that's made between two friends. What's the idea of making a bris? Two friends make a treaty. What's the idea of a treaty? If they want to ensure forever the Avet zwischen sie, their love, that nothing and no situation should change it. So how do they strengthen it? Making a Christus bris. In other words, when you make a covenant, the point is it should go on and on and on. Because if I like you and you like me, so what's the problem? Why do they have to make a treaty? We like, fine. What we're afraid of is that maybe there'll come a time when we stop liking each other. So by making a Christus bris, that means it should continue longer. So the whole idea of a Christus bris is it should continue more. Now, when you make a covenant between two people, was by a nivre sein shaykh by a human being, by a creature, there could be changes. Is meglech azeh the brisel der noch bottle when. So even if you make a covenant, which means that even no matter what happens and what situation will be, we'll still continue doing whatever to do together. Even that could change because they're human beings, and that could change. When the Hashem makes this covenant, beniden the dan mit Ayiden. In our case, meaning a covenant, the Eibishter makes with the Yidden. Durch dem, was Ayid sich mal, if a Yid does the Bris Milah, the Eibishter says, I'm making an eternal covenant. Is this a Bris Elam, so that's something forever you can't change. That's what the Eibishter says. And here Ataka can't change. The Bris that happens is a Bris Elam, a Bris, eternal Bris. But the Rebbe brings the moshel by a human being to show that the whole concept of Bris should continue even when it maybe won't. By the Eibishter, it'll continue forever, because by a human being, he also, really when two people make a covenant, they also mean forever. They also mean we're going to make it as long as it could be, forever. But we never know. They could change that too. But by the Eibishter, since the Eibishter is not up to Shinui, not changes, so the Eibishter says, I'm making a Bris Elam, it's stuck forever.
What about one that born with the Brit?
So you have to do a Tofas Dam Bris. Or you could ask a child, by women, how does that work? So the Gemara says, Isha kimande mehil yadam. A woman is like, she's like born with a bris. She's like, that's why in benching, the woman could say, and the bris that you sealed in our body. A woman doesn't have a bris, but the Torah says that the Eibishter like made it originally a bris.
And a Yid that never has a bris still has a connection to.
Not this covenant. The covenant that this is is an additional covenant. But Yid is always connected. But this is, yeah, but this is a different bris. It's another bris. No, but this bris is a separate, special bris. But those is like they also have bris. They also have milah. Right. And that milah does the same thing.
That's after they adopt all these.
Whatever, yeah. If they megayet, if they convert k'halacha, then one of the things is the bris, and that bris makes the same bris like here. But it won't have the milah that we're going to say on the 8th day. That we're going to see. But das ist eine von den Biurim. This is one of the explanations. For was Avram Avinu hat sich nicht mal gewinnt, bis der Eibishter hat ihm angesagt auf dem. This is one of the reasons why Avram Avinu did not do a bris, waited till Hashem commanded him. Afal pi askim Avram Avinu kol ha-teira kol ha-chili nitno. Avram Avinu did all the mitzvahs, even though it wasn't given. So why didn't he keep the mitzvah of Milah? So there are many reasons in simple pshat given why not. So one pshat, just to say it, the Rebbe in the Sichas doesn't bring it, but just to bring in one pshat, why he didn't do it is a very simple pshat. Every other mitzvah, Avram didn't know. Maybe I'll be commanded. Hashem will tell me. But by doing it, not being commanded, will not take away the fact that when he gets commanded, he'll be able to do it being commanded. Let's say yek matzah. So what happens if maybe in 5 years Hashem will command him to eat matzah? So eat matzah then being commanded. Do shofar. This is something that's only one time. If he does a bris, if the Eibishter will command him, and the Eibishter like I did, he won't be able to do it. That's why he didn't do it. There's another reason the Rebbe gives, is because all the mitzvahs that the others did, the mitzvah that they weren't commanded, was not a chiyuv, what an obligation. It was a hidur, something extra they did. When you do a hidur, something extra, if that contradicts something that you're not allowed to do from halacha, you can't do a hidur and go against halacha. Now, a benayach, Avram, he was at that time, has a din of a benayach, is not allowed to cut himself and let himself bleed. Not allowed to. Because that's part of Shvichas Domi by benayach. So had he done the bris not being commanded, he would have done the hidur of the bris, being Ever Isser, that there's a real Isser, that he's not allowed to do it. But that's all Pashtas Dike, Halacha Dike reasons. Here the Rebbe gives a Ruchnis Dike reason why he didn't do it.
And he also wasn't having Yitzchak until he was gemaled.
That's something.
That's doesn't talk about that.
No, but that's the Eibishter's they did. I'm talking about he did. Why didn't he do it? So the Rebbe says, "Weil anivro zaynik abal shinoi," a creature, a person who was created, a human being. Since he's up to changes, he's not like the Eibishter, which is no changes and forever. Ken bekeach atzmen nituften an inyan elam. A person like that cannot accomplish an eternal thing. A person is not eternal. A bris elam an ebike bris. A bris forever. He can't do it. Das ken sich uften bleis mit dem keach habeire. That could only be done by the Creator. Was zokton, was das git a keach as v'hoise bris ele bris elam. The Eibishter said that if you do a bris, I could make something with you forever, a bris forever. But if the Eibishter didn't tell him to do it, he would do the bris on his own. He wouldn't have accomplished what the bris is because he can't on your own. A nivro, a person as great as Avraham, can't on his own make something that's forever. Can't do it. So when you're commanded to do it, if you're commanded, the Eibishter tells you, so the Eibishter says, if you do it, I'll make a bris elam with you. And the Eibishter could. So Avraham didn't do it because he wouldn't have accomplished what the bris was supposed to accomplish. What's the purpose? He only did the mitzvahs that will do something, but they wouldn't do it. Der mit wird verstehen. This will explain. This will explain why the mitzvah bris is made to a child that's so tiny, so small, 8 days old. That the nimel is doch a tinek, he's a baby, and he can't participate at all. See, he will be a little bit older child. So as much as he's still small, but still he could participate. He could move. You tell him to move, and I'll do this. But here it's a baby that has no participation whatsoever. Why? And tells why. Something that a person does with his own ability, something that he is able to do. You have to prepare yourself. That needs time to prepare. Until you're ready and you have the ability to do it. If you're going to do something, you have to prepare yourself. Be ready to do it. Be able to do it. But the bris that comes from the mitzvah of Mille kommt in ganze mitzvah. That's something that has nothing to do with the person. That's a bris that only the Eibishter does. The one that gets the bris is not involved in only his doing. It's not he that is doing it. The actual physical act is done through a human being. But the bris verschafft sich durch them, but the covenant that is accomplished through this act, comes only from Hashem. Das heißt, it means like this. She's nicht der Pshat, and this is the point of the inyan. It doesn't mean as durch mitzvahs Mille verbindet sich der Mensch mit dem Eibishter. When we do Mille and we have a bris, and we have a covenant with Eibishter, it's not the Pshat that the person who does a bris connects himself to Hashem. That is not true. Nor farket, that's the opposite. B'shas ha'ide sich mal, if he does a bris, verbindet der Eibishter damit mit ihm in a bris elam. The Eibishter says, you got to do this act, that's all. If you did this act, I will connect myself to you. Or put it in other words, I will connect you to me. But not that you could do it yourself. So we always think if you do a bris, that means the Yid gets connected to Hashem. Yes, he gets connected, but not that he's connecting. The Eibishter gave you like instruction what to do. But if you do it, I now make a bris with you, and I connect to the Eibishter.
Shabbos and all the other mitzvahs the same thing? Shabbos and other mitzvahs are the same thing?
I don't know if it says the word bris elam by the rest. And bris elam it says. This is the word is bris elam. It's a deeper darge.
Yeah,
but this is higher than Shabbos. No, yeah, but bris is higher than Shabbos. That's why it says bris is done on the 8th day. Shabbos is the seventh day. And we know always the difference between 7 and 8. 7 is a lower level, even though 7 is a holy day. So 7 is holy. 8 is even holier than that. That's why the Gemara says, why is the bris on the 8th day? Because they shiyaver all of Shabbos Sichas. So Poshup Pshat is that if you have on the 8th day, so whichever day of the week the child was born, there is a Shabbos. But Chassidus says the Pshat is yaver all of Shabbos, that it's a higher darga than Shabbos. And that's why bris milah is doicha Shabbos. That's why it's the 8th day, because it's the 8th. The Klei Yokar on the Posik, Vahi B'yem Hashmini, says the whole Arichas, that the 8th, L'gabah 7, is much higher. Even though he says 7 is holy, Shabbos Kedesh, but the 7th, compared to the 8th, is called Chayil L'gabah Kedesh. It's like Chayil L'gabah Kedesh. That's how high he is. That's why they have, it always says in Svarim, Oz Yoshir, you have the Aleph and the Zayin. So Oz Yoshir by the Shireh, by the Kriyas Yamsuf, was such a great Gilui of a Lakus, and there was the Dargi of Oz. And it says, Aleph Zayin, Aleph Reichav ala Zayin is a Loshen. The Aleph rides on the Zayin. It rides on the 7th. Because 7 is the highest of the, Rajba calls it, it's the Hekif. The cycle, the highest, everything is in 7. 7 days a week, 7 years in a Shemitah, 7 Shemitahs in a Yevel, there's 7 Rakim, there's 7 is a complete number. And 8 he calls it Shemer HaHekif. That's the one that guards the cycle. It's much higher. And that's what bris is. So that bris is something. But that bris is a bris Eilam. But the bris Eilam cannot come from us. So if it would be dependent on us, what we do, so you would have to have an adult do it. A child, he's not doing it. We're saying it doesn't depend. The act has to be done. The Eibishter said that's how it happens. But I will do it. And the Rebbe, let me just finish this word. And the Rebbe, therefore, the talking time is warten bis the Kind wird werden a Godel. There's no reason to wait till we become an adult. And b'meila he will be able to participate himself. Anyway, not be something that he does, accomplishes this. And the Rebbe, therefore, on the contrary, by der ersten Gelegenheit, the first opportunity, wie nur der Kind ist genug stark, as long as the child is strong enough, is minimal, we're mal. And that's why we do it the 8th day, not the first, because the first day they say he's not strong enough, just born and is not strong. So by 8th day already he's strong. It's the first opportunity, connect him to Hashem. Well, he's connect him. Do something and Hashem will connect himself to him.
The mitzvah is on the child. The mitzvah is on the father, has a chiyuv.
That, whichever way that makes
well, why not? Because that is the Swiss of the Tata, so to speak.
No, here the act is that's another reason to go in whether it's the father's mitzvah or not. That's a big shaila. Is it the mitzvah of the child? But since he's small, the Torah
of the child.
No, here it seems.
But there's still the man has to bring the child.
Yeah, there has to be done. We're saying there has to be an act. That's true. But the act is not what does it. If you do the act, the Eibishter does his part.
Some scar the child also gets because the pain the child goes through.
Yeah.
The child goes through.
Yeah, but it's not.
Pain.
I don't know. It's tremendous pain. It's pain for sure, but it's not tremendous. The Rebbe said that 13 goes through pain, but here, Lav Dafke, the Rebbe didn't say. The Rebbe says that there is tsar. The Munkat writes, I think not the Minchas Lazar, I think Darkei Tshuva, he was a male, and the Minchas Lazar was a male. He said he was mal thousands of children, and I'm telling you, there is no pain. The kid cries. Says when you diaper the kid, he also cries. He says it's not. He says I don't know that's if they could know or not, whatever. But that's Darkei Tshuva, his father. Yeah, but there is Lepel Bagashman. There is tsar, but that's not a big tsar for a child. The reason we don't say Shechionu by Ashkenaz Sfardim say Shechionu by Abris, we don't say Shechionu because there's Tzayda de Yenuke because it's tsar.
Two children sleep through the procedure.
Really interesting.
Beginning to end.
Because they didn't feel it. So
Shabbos Menucha.
Does the Mila foil the wrist, or is it an ice
Needles,
of the wrist?
because
Like a
the
kasha.
parents who give.
oh, the Miller pails it. If the Miller is done, not that the Miller causes it. When the Miller is done, the Eibishter says that's when I will make the bris with you. So the Miller is the one that makes the Eibishter do the bris. Now we'll get to understand the question. The beginning of the Sicha was, what did Yitzchak mean? He said, I'm greater than you because I was Malta 8 days. So he asked, what's the big Maila? No, Yitzchak. Yishmael said 13 years. We understand what his Maila is. I was an adult and I let myself have an operation. I could have stopped it. And that shows how much he was doing the right thing with Mesiras Nefesh. But what did Yitzchak say? I'm 8 days. What's so special about that? Now we'll understand why. So he said, we understand the Meile of Yitzchak's Mile, the Rishon Animal Shemini, which we said that he was the first that got the bris to 8 days. And that's a big Meile, Legabe Milas Avraham, V'Yishmol. It's greater than the Mila of Yishmol, he said that. We said before it's even greater than the Mila of Avraham. Because remember, when the Medrash goes through the list, the stages of when mitzvahs were given, one stage is 7 mitzvahs to Adam Rishon, another stage, a new mitzvah given to Noach, Iver Melachai, a new mitzvah given to Avraham, and a new mitzvah, so to speak, another stage that he got at 8 days. And the question was, why is that a new stage? It's another detail. But obviously this is something, a new stage, which Avraham didn't have. Yitzchak had it. What is it? So he says like this. So Avraham is gegeben geworden mitzvahs Mile, noch dem, wie hat sich dazu machen geworden. Avraham got the mitzvah Mile after he prepared himself to it. Durch sein Friedrich Avede, what he did before the Mile. Bis werden die Tzadik Tashono, till he became already 99 years old. Mit Aseder V'Adroge. By him it went from level to level. The first thing is he was 3 years old when he recognized Hashem. With the fashin and the madregas in them, that there are levels in that itself. In one level is Ben Sholish 3, then one place it says Ben Arboim 40, Ben Memches 48. There's a contradiction. Some places it says 3, some places 40, some 4. The answer is that there are levels.
How can a child of 3
Those years it said, as soon as the child was born, the mother would ask the child, go and bring me something. Sure, the things, and Rivka was married to 3 years old. So, whatever it is, he started off with stages. Then he had Zayin Aveda zum Erfassen seiner Lakus Be'elam. We know he spread godliness in the world. Bizer hat der hechste Mashleimus was his Megla by Anivra. He reached the highest level a human being, who's a limited creature, is able to reach. After he reached the highest level possible, und erst dennoch ist ihm gegeben geworden mit Meile Mitzvahs Mile. Then Hashem gave him the Mitzvahs Mile. Durch welcher is geworden Atomim. Then Hashem said, now when you do that, now you'll become Atomim, now you become complete. Und der Rebbe, therefore, is sein Mitzvahs Mile nicht gewinn mutgisch, wenn Nike begoloi adas abris, und a kesher was kommt legamre ganz normal Meile. Here you can't tell that this is a bris that comes directly from Hashem, an infinite bris forever, eternal. It probably was. But you can't see. You see, when did he get it? Obviously, it seems like he got ready to it, and he worked on it, and he finally reached the time Madrege. As much as he could do, David gave him. Das heißt, it means, Eich bei Avrom is es nie gewähnt beeifen, als ein friedlicher Avede ist, wenn Kehler zum Bris. Bei Avrom, it's not that what he did before accomplished, it was the thing that brought about the Bris. That's not true. An Ile begam zum Bris, that was a cause and a reason to the Bris. Warum Kanal, we said before, the Bris was wird aufgetan durch Mille. The bris that happens through Mila is a bris olam. Nitzchis, it's forever, it's eternal. Is nit b'chek anivre. A person can't do anything that will bring about such a thing. From kol haven nifsit, because anything that was created, it's a lotion of the Rambam, anything that's there now, because it's there, will eventually stop. It's not forever, it can't be forever. So a human being, the greatest thing he does, cannot accomplish anything that'll be forever. Kena nivre nituftan in them. Nobody could do about it. A godel shebekdeilen welcher versteht ha mitzvah leburio is nicht enter to them wie a kotten shebektanim. The greatest person that understands the greatest things, the deepest things, is not closer to eternity than the smallest one. Because we know that legabe eternity, or legabe bligvul, legabe bligvul without a limit, 1 and a billion is the same. They're both the same. See, in things which are not unlimited, legabe a billion, 1 is less than a million. A million is closer to a billion. 10 million is closer to a billion. But to infinity, it's all the same. And here we're talking about bris that's infinite. So you could say Avram did the greatest things. It's not something that could bring about something that's eternal, because he's a nivra. The greatest things of him is a nivra. So what happened when he did it? So even though the Peil Mamesh, it came after his Aveda, all it did that he prepared himself to be able that Hashem should do it to him. Since after he did his Aveda complete, as much as a creature could accomplish as a creature, so the Eibishter gave him something afterwards as a present from above, as a that he should have a bris. That means, so let's look at it. Did he bring it about or not? So we're saying it's both true. He didn't. What he got was something that he didn't deserve, because no one deserves something like this on your own. But on the other hand, the Eibishter gave it to him as a present. And he gives an example. Al derech ilav do'obit neichel lenafshe le'yovel matante. It says like this: a person who gets a present didn't deserve it. If he deserved, let's say a person works and deserves to get paid. That's not a present. That's your salary that you deserve. When you say you give a guy a present, that means you didn't really have to give him. Nevertheless, who do you give a present to? Someone who did you a favor. You don't have to give him. It's like I could say the example of a bonus. If you work and you get paid, that's what you deserve. A bonus he doesn't have to give you. But since you worked so nice, he'll give you. So he gives you something that you don't deserve. So that's what he gives a present. So the same thing here.
You don't deserve.
I'm not using the word deserve. I mean, it's something that it's not that you didn't earn. You didn't earn. He doesn't have to.
But yeah, there's a relationship.
But
like Spears Army and Shavuos, we said, 49th.
a lot of times, this example is given a lot of inyan. But the neichel and nafshe, when you say you did something, you did the guy a favor, you made him feel good. That's why he gave you the present. This thing that you made him feel good is not ken tashlum for the maton. It's not payment, not salary for the present. Certainly, it doesn't make that he must give you the present. Matone means that he wanted to give you. It's completely from the giver. Salary he gives you whether he likes it or not. It's because you deserve it. It's because of you. Here it's because of him. On the other hand, still, who do you give it? Someone who did something. Same thing by Avraham. He got something milmayla as a present that he couldn't reach it and he couldn't get it. Hashem gave it to him after he did his best. Hashem says, you did your best. Oh, now I'm going to give you something that you couldn't reach and I'll give it to you. Oh, but Afal became, so even though Avraham, the bris that Avraham did was also eternal, and it came from the Eibishter completely, oh, but Afal became nevertheless. It did after all come, after Avraham did some Aveda, is in sein Kiyam Mitzvahs Mille given a reingemisch sein Aveda. So when he did the Mitzvah Mille, there was something of him mixed into it, even though that's not the real thing, but something was mixed into it. Bis the Mitzvahs Mille atzmo, so much that the Mitzvahs Mille itself, it says that he decided, as darf sich mal sein, has to be mal. No, the famous word, it says that the Rebbe Rashab, when he was a little kid, went into Tzemach Tzedek for his birthday, because Chav Cheshem was his birthday, Parshas Vayeira, started crying, and Tzemach Tzedek, why are you crying? So he said, I learned in the Torah, in Chumash, in Cheder, that Hashem revealed himself to Avraham. How come he doesn't reveal himself to me? So he said to him, Ayid, that's 99 years old, decides to mal himself, deserves that the Rebbe should reveal himself. So the Rebbe asked the Shaila, what do you mean he decides? He decided. He was told by the Eibishter. But he had no choice. No, he had a physical choice, but the Eibishter told him, Avraham was not going to listen. But he himself came to the decision. Rashi also says a strange thing. Rashi says that when he was given the Mitzvah of Milah, he went to get advice by Oner Eshkol Mamre. What does that mean? The Eibishter told him to do it. That means he wanted to do it, to understand it, to have himself involved completely in it. So here, as much as it came from the Eibishter, something that he couldn't accomplish, nevertheless, we do use some kind of expressions that his Metzias was involved. Und der Rebbe is in dem nicht gewähnt mutgisch, wenn Nicke begilui. So here you couldn't see wie der Bris kommt in ganzem Meile, how this is a bris that comes completely in Meile, because if someone will look on the side and see, when did Avraham get a bris? He's 99 years old. Why? Because he did so many things, so Hashem gave him a bris. Now, if you think about it, you'll realize the bris was a bris that came from Hashem, which is beyond his Aveda, but his Aveda is involved. Yishmael did the same thing. He was 13 years old, he was about das. So comes out, as Yishmael sein Seichel Masken gewinnt zu sich mal sein. If he agreed to it, that means, in his mind, he said yes. Verbunden sich mit dem Leib, and he connected himself to Hashem. But there is some part of him that's mixed in. The fact that he's about das is not a Maila here. It's a Maila practically, that he could have said no and he did it. But as far as what it's supposed to accomplish, he felt, you see, that's exactly what he said to him. The Mila came because I agreed, you see? So that's all shows it's not a real Bris Elam. Maybe it was, but he didn't feel it, and it's not felt. Dafke by Yitzchak. Was niemals Lishmeina Yome, Yitzchak was circumcised on the 8th day, which 8th day you have nothing to say, you have nothing to do, you can't help it. He's given Golui. The Dinya from Bris Mila is that was in a revealed way. The Dinya of a Bris is a Verbund was wird geschaffen a connection that happens nicht mitzad dem Odem Animal, not from the person Anivra. Because it didn't happen here, he didn't do anything. He's not Sheikhs, he didn't have das. Nor in Ganzim mitzad dem Eibishter came completely from Hashem. And that's why this is another category, it's another stage. 7 mitzvahs to Odom, another mitzvah to Noach, another mitzvah to Avram, and this is almost another mitzvah. It's a new thing, a bringing down the bris, that's the bris Salom that Eibishter makes.